right, let's do this one last time.
It seems like every time I make a video about anything Xbox related, I get a lot of negative comments from the fanboys who fight tooth and nail to defend their favorite console, and they call me a Sony pony and whatnot. But you cannot defend Xbox anymore after the recent closure of some of their studios, even after some successes like Hi-Fi Rush, and even more so, you cannot defend Xbox after the boredom that is Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Now I have to be clear, I did not play the first one because I had zero interest in it whatsoever. Granted, the sequel does have a retelling of the events from the first one, but I felt it didn't do enough to explain what is going on to set up the story for this game, because I felt the story here was told very poorly. Now, granted, with this game, the visuals and audio design is one of the best things I have ever experienced for a game thus far. And for the audio, that makes sense, as the game does rely on the voices in Senua's head to basically help progress the story due to her mental illness of psychosis. And the visuals are amazing as well, with the environment going through constant changes and portraying the mental struggle that Senua experiences on a daily basis. However, there is almost nothing going on in the environment in terms of a lot of activity and NPCs. There's never more than about 2 or 3 characters on screen at a time, so it could be the main reason why the game almost never struggles to display a clear, beautiful image. Now, unfortunately, even though the audio is great, with the Xbox Series X, I've always have audio issues with my headset, whether I have a wired headset or a wireless headset, whether I'm using my controller wirelessly or wired, whether I'm using batteries or a battery pack, I can never get a stable audio connection for any of my play sessions on my Xbox, when I can get that for any other console I use, Nintendo or PlayStation. But if you do experience this issue like I do on Xbox Series X, let me know in the comments down below. Just a little side rant I want to get into real quickly. Now I got to talk about the game's cinematic camera angle, because I like it. There's basically no HUD, no icons on screen getting in your way, and it feels more interactive and intuitive, like a movie, which would have been great if the game was very interesting and had a story that was easy to follow and engaging, and if the game wasn't so short and complicated. In terms of the story, from my understanding, Senua was taken as a slave to Iceland, where she plans to stop more slaves from being captured and try to end this cycle of slave encapturement. And she does end up going on this bizarre psychological journey that leads her to fight some Draugrs and eventually try to kill the giants. And not much of a spoiler, as I don't think the game is really worth the time to even not give any spoilers, but it does go into a weird place with the story where you end up wondering, how did we get to this point? Why are we at this point? What the hell is going on in the game? And even as a Game Pass subscriber, I don't know if the game is going to be worth your time. The combat was pretty interesting because I liked it, but I didn't love it. I did mention earlier that it has a very cinematic camera angle and a cinematic feel to it, and it's the same for combat. You have to dodge and parry the attacks accordingly, and then follow up with your light and heavy attacks, which does get repetitive very quickly. It does get dull pretty quickly, but it's the camera angle that I felt made the combat feel new and fresh for me, because I never experienced a combat system like this before. But it's not enough for me to say that the game is great. You do your fights in a 1v1 fashion, and upon defeating an enemy, you'll have another one who will jump in and attack you, and you rinse and repeat the cycle until that encounter is completed. In terms of boss fights, there really wasn't any boss fights at all. I heard the first game had boss fights, and this one kind of took them away, so that is a bit of a disappointment as well. And I was really hoping that the combat had more combos, more special moves or abilities. There's really only one ability in the game that allows you to kind of stop your enemies from moving, and you can move much quicker and do a kill with a few attacks onto them. And you only get one use until you recharge it by doing damage and taking damage. And that's about it. Nothing really special about it from there. Now, you do have some puzzles in the game, and they suck. They're basically really easy, and some of them are just looking for specific signs in the environment that you have to use to get past a certain door. There's one puzzle that's a really lengthy torch puzzle where you're lighting torches to get through the area. That one more than overstayed its welcome. Those kind of puzzles were really just boring and easy and really didn't add too much to the game, and it just got annoying after a while. And along with that, there's also some sections where the game tries to be terrifying, tries to scare you with some dark themes and some shadows and scary moments, but it just doesn't get the job done. It's not very scary. The atmosphere is not really there. And you also have these long sessions where Senua has to either climb a wall or crawl through a small section or walk somewhere. And it tries to portray a sense of struggle as well as trying to build up the narrative and build up the next event. But it just drags on and on. It overstays its welcome, and I think it fails to do its job of trying to set the scene and trying to set up the emotions that Senua is experiencing. I also believe that there may be some hidden messages you can find in the game, because I found a couple of them, but it didn't encourage me to go out and find any more because I just didn't care about them at all. I really don't give a shit about those collectibles if they are indeed a thing. Now, a huge portion of your game is consisting of you pushing forward on the analog and having Senua walk forward or move forward into the next section of the game. And there's probably some dialogue here, some kind of cutscene moment here, or Senua struggling through whatever event she's struggling through. And these happen way too often, and they overstay their welcome, as I said before. It's basically a walking simulator and a really boring one. And Senua's facial animation and design often looks really horrible in this game. I don't know if it was poorly animated or if she is just a really ugly person, but boy, does she look rough in this game. She just looks bad in most moments of the game. There is a photo mode that is decent. It's not the best I've seen, but it's not the worst. It's actually a pretty decent photo mode. The game is about 5 hours long or so, and if you're bored on a weekend and you want to try it, maybe for just the visuals and the sound, if you can get the sound to work, then maybe. But if you're looking for a fun, great action adventure hack and slash, this is definitely not it. If you want a really great Viking experience and you only have Xbox, I guess there's Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is also on Game Pass. But if you have a PS5 or PC, there is God of War Ragnarok, especially with Ragnarok coming to PC in September. But if you don't have those options, I don't know what else to tell you. If you want a really scary experience, something that will really get you jumping and scared and everything, you have much better options out there. The Resident Evil remakes, Alan Wake 2 was one of my favorite games, and it's a very scary experience as well. And it also looks amazing too. Alan Wake 2 is one of the best looking games I've ever played thus far. And if you have an Xbox only, I gotta be honest, now might be the time to sell it, because I think this game, as well as some other recent issues, Xbox closing their studios and Xbox sending some of their exclusives to Sony, I think it's the final push I need to finally get rid of my Xbox. I don't see a purpose to have my Xbox anymore. I almost never use it, and I think now's the time to just ditch it. So if you have an Xbox, now might be the time to get rid of it. Get a PC or get a PlayStation, in my opinion, honestly. That's just my opinion. Don't put too much into it. But that's my review for Senua's Saga. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my fans who've been supporting me since day one. I have just been accepted into the YouTube partner program in the first basic steps of that, and I'm very excited about it. So look forward for a video on that soon as I continue to finish everything, finalize everything, get everything I need set up for that partner program. So thank you so much for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. It's been a milestone for me, and I'm so excited to be on that next stage, and I look forward to the future of my channel, and I hope you guys look forward to the future of my content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.